Greetings, friends. Randall Nagy here, and welcome out to the Python Primer. Created several years ago, our Python Primer is an opportunity to begin to see if Python is a programming language for you, and so is our training, because unlike many other programming languages, when we start learning Python, we can start doing productive things simply by writing functions. Therefore, in Python 1000, we have a series of educational opportunities dedicated to allowing you to become productive using no more or less than functional Python. Moving on to Python 2000, when it comes time to package up and share our Python, there are a lot of things we need to be aware of, and one of those things are modules, and another is classes, and we can talk a great deal about Python with classes, but keep in mind you don't have to know how to use classes and modules in order to get the most out of using functional Python. Ultimately, once we've covered the basics, we have many opportunities to cover more advanced concepts, and from Python 3000, 4000, 5000, and beyond, rather than one-size-fits-all training, once you've completed the 1000 and 2000 basics, you can select to take only the topics that you need for your project or employment opportunities. So from web dev, data management, Linux interfaces, using the TKINTER GUI, we have Cartesian graphics as well as review questions and answers that you will enjoy throughout Python 3000 to 9000 educational opportunities. Located on GitHub, the resource you're going to want to learn more about if you're a new software developer, you'll find the PyQuest project. And in the PyQuest project, we'll see that we have a card game. And that card game includes a Quest core as well as a Quest bonus, as well as a Quest project session, so that you can take a look at review questions to help you on your Pythoneering journey and allow you to review the concepts we're going to be covering in our educational opportunities. So if you're asking yourself, why do we call this modern Python, we should take a moment to note that there have been many versions of Python out since 1996, and at the time of this recording, Python 3.12 has just been released. So you can see we have many years of Python. And we should note here that Python 2.x is a very different language than Python 3. And not only is Python 2 considered obsolete, but as you can see, new and exciting features are indeed being added to the Python programming language several times a year. Python has been around for a while, so modern Python can look a lot like the older versions of Python. But because Python has been on Linux and POSIX-inspired operating systems for a long time, in order to start modern Python, we have to put a 3 at the end of Python so that we can get a copy of the Python 3 rather than the Python 2 programming environment. So Python works the same on many modern operating systems. And switching over to Microsoft Windows, we have indeed installed modern Python on our Microsoft Windows operating system. But while modern Python is included on POSIX-inspired operating systems, the chances are pretty good you're going to have to install it for yourself on any version of Microsoft Windows available, at least at the time of this recording. And not only can we use quit to exit the REPL mode, or the 3 chevrons as we see here, on any operating system, but we can use exit as well. Back on Linux, of course, one of the first commands you're going to probably want to know about is help. And when we use help, we'll simply call the function by using the 2 parentheses, as we see here. And once we start Python, we can see some handy advice on some topics we could research, for example, modules, keywords, symbols, or topics to help us begin our research into modern Python. Once we've done all of our research, of course, we can simply type in Q when we see the colon to exit the subsystem or the help page. And we can also say Q to exit the help subsystem so as to allow us to demonstrate how to use, for example, the print function. Notice here that whenever we're going to look at the documentation for a built-in function, we don't have to use the parentheses, and once again, availing ourselves of the ability to type in Q, as well as to execute help on topics, which is not a built-in method or function, will allow us to demonstrate the difference. Pushing the up arrow on the CLI will allow us to go back up to look at another topic. And we notice here that print can take a value, and it also has some optional arguments, including sep for a separator for when we have more than one parameter or value in the print function. Also a default of \n or a new line that will be printed so as to advance the line after we use print, as well as the file capability, which will allow us to print to a file, defaulting to our standard output, as well as flush, which will allow us to make sure everything has been flushed out of whatever file, in this case the default of sys.standard out, that we may be using. Pressing Q again, we can go ahead and demonstrate how to use print simply by creating our first string using the double quotes. So to see that we can print hello, but if we jam two strings together, we see that Python will automatically put a separator or the default separator of the single space between our arguments. And if we wanted to override that default separator, we could put any string in there using this sep equals parameter to change that space to anything we want. Of course, once we return to the operating system prompt, in this case a $sign or a £sign on our POSIX-inspired operating systems, we can't use quit, but we can use exit to exit the command line shell, just as we see here. So the wonderful thing about the version of Python we'll be using today is that whatever we write will be available on any other platform. In this case, no matter if we're running Python on Mac OS, Linux, or Microsoft Windows, we're always going to have a print statement available to us. We should note that calling the print function will simply print a single new line, as we see here with the end equals, and of course, hello Python, noting that we still will get our new line appended to the end of our line. So if you don't have Python 3 installed, or if you want to upgrade to the latest and greatest version of Python, and while you only need Python version 3.6 or greater for this educational opportunity, the first resource every good Pythoneer will want to know about is python.org. And taking a moment to take a look at python.org, we see that we have a very modern website. And of course, it'll probably change by the time you have taken this training, but we have downloads which allow us to get our most recent version for whatever operating system browser we have detected. Otherwise, we have plenty of documentation, as well as a community that will allow us to talk about having Python enhancement proposals, or PEPs, which govern the evolution of Python. But more importantly, we have the Python package index, or PyPy, that will allow us to take a look at projects that other people have created for us. While we're at it, I should probably mention that I also have a lot of packages up on the Python package index. And no matter if we're looking to create databases with my PyDeo 9000 project, or looking for a handy quotation, printing large print characters, or even playing a game like PyTrek 9000, later on we'll be showing you how you can install as well as enjoy not only my PyPy packages, but the Python packages you have. Of course, the wonderful thing about the Python package index affectionately known as the cheese shop, is that there is a standalone way to install the packages from Python, and both the tool as well as the acronym is known as PIP for Python installs Python, or if you will, Python installs packages. And in as much as you're probably going to wind up getting a Python package from the PyPy or Python Package Index, let's take a moment to demonstrate how we might install my Mighty Maxims package on Microsoft's subsystem for Linux. Now, when we're using POSIX, we might have to use pip3 rather than pip, because if we simply use pip, we're going to get the old version. Otherwise, when we use pip3 on POSIX-inspired operating systems, if pip3 is installed and we're connected to the internet, we'd automatically go out to check the internet so that we might be able to install, in this case, Mighty Maxims. Now, you see that I've already have Mighty Maxims installed, but if I wanted to uninstall Mighty Maxims, I simply would ask pip to do so. And because pip3 might not be installed on your operating system, once we install Python, in this case Python 3, we can use the -m option to run the pip module, which is much more likely to be installed on any operating system, so as to do the same thing. In this case, locate, download, and install Mighty Maxims. Once installed, of course, here's some instructions on how we can use Mighty Maxims to share an inspiring quote. And simply by starting our interpreter, importing Mighty Maxims, we can see Dr. Quote number 1306 from Muhammad Ali, winning the program, noting that once we've installed Mighty Maxims, we can get a quote using the -C option, just as we would on any Python programming platform. So if you've gotten this far, you probably have what it takes to be a Python software developer. And of course, the first step in becoming a Python software developer, of course, would be to simply see if Python is installed on your operating system, making sure you have Python 3.6 or greater for the purposes of this training opportunity. And if not, go ahead and visit python.org so as to download a version of Python for your operating system as well. The first of many activities that you're going to be doing in my future training opportunities, take a moment to download and install Python. Open a command prompt, start Python as we've demonstrated, either using Python or Python 3. Print "Hello World," the classic software developer greeting for a new programming language. Then use the quit function to exit Python. Take a moment and install modern Python on your operating system now, and we'll be here when you get back.